technologies. So the global demand for critical minerals, especially nickel from Indonesia, has continued to rise as the world strives to reduce its reliance on fossil fuels. And today, Indonesia is not only a major supplier of this critical mineral, but also developing a downstream industry to produce so-called lithium-ion battery, which is a key or a component of an electric vehicle. Before we get into the discussion, let's set a tone, which will be delivered by our acting deputy of waste, hazardous waste and hazardous substances management from the Ministry of Environment, who's going to set the tone for the next discussion. She is Ibu Hanifah Dwi Nirwana through the video.
It is a great honor to open this session and the theme technology. Indonesia has demonstrated a commitment to addressing climate change through its nationally determined contribution under the Paris Agreement. In its first NDC, submitted in 2016, Indonesia pledged to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 29% through domestic effort and up to 41% with international support by the year 2030. This ambitious target was further reinforced in the enhanced NDC 2022, which raised the emission reduction goals to 31.89% unconditionally and 43.2% conditionally, reflecting Indonesia's growing determination to align national development with global climate ambition. Emission reduction efforts are focused on 5 key sectors: forestry, energy, waste, agriculture, and industrial processes. With the energy sector expected to play a particularly significant role through the transition toward renewable energy, increased efficiency, and adoption of low-carbon technologies. In parallel, Indonesia is now in the process of preparing its second NDC 2031 until 2035, which will adopt 2019 as reference year and maintain the principle of no backsliding. Ensuring the future commitment will only become stronger and more ambitious. Indonesia remains firmly committed to achieving a net zero emission target by 2060 or sooner, as part of its ongoing contribution to the UNFCCC process and active participation in successive conferences of the parties. To further strengthen this commitment at the national level, Indonesia organized the Festival Life, Environment, Climate, Forestry, and New Renewable Energy, firstly at 2023 and second at 2024. This festival serves as a dynamic platform to showcase innovation, technology, and best practices in sustainable environmental management and clean energy transition. It brings together a diverse range of stakeholders, government, institutions, industry, academia, civil society, and youth to share knowledge, build partnership, and inspire action toward a resilient, inclusive, and low-carbon future. Today's session, organized by Huayou Indonesia, to explore emerging technologies to respond to climate change and Indonesia nickel downstreaming industry to accelerate the transition toward a resilient and low-emission future. Nickel, as a critical mineral, plays a critical role in the world clean energy transition, particularly in the development of electric vehicles and renewable energy storage. With 42% of the world nickel resource, Indonesia carries both an immense opportunity and responsibility to ensure that the strategic resource and development align with global sustainable goals. Our speakers today are from the Ministry of Environment, Director for Hazardous and Non-Hazardous Waste Management, will present the Indonesia policy from the utilization, and from the private sector, we have two industries, namely Huayou Indonesia, PT Vale Indonesia, and Harita Nickel, which will present their experiences in promoting sustainable practices, improving operational efficiency, and applying carbon technologies across different stages of the nickel value chains. As we begin this discussion, let us remember that advancing climate solutions requires courage, cooperation, and creativity. On behalf of the Indonesia Pavilion Ministry of Environment, I would like to express our appreciation to all speakers and participants for contributing to this discussion. May this lead to actionable insight that further advance Indonesia's sustainable industrial transformation and support global climate goals. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you to Ibu Hanifah for recorded the message and delivering and the encouragement for all of us to actually collaborate, build a good partnership so we can move things forward. All right, so let's start with the discussions. We'll explore on some key strategies to successfully implement sustainable development in mineral industry, the technological innovations required to establish a low carbon supply chain, as well as what are the barriers to actually transitioning or transforming to low emission and resource efficient operations. What will be the ideal green economy ecosystem for the mineral processing and mineral downstreaming industry in Indonesia? So please welcome our moderator. She's the head of corporate communication PT Vale Indonesia. Please join me in welcoming Mbak Vanda Kusumaningrum.
Check. All right, good afternoon, Excellency, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mbak Mona. So it's an honor to be your moderator for today, and especially in the strategic session about emerging technologies to respond to climate change in Indonesia's nickel downstreaming industry. Today, we will explore how Indonesia, home of the world's nickel reserve, is leveraging technology and innovation to drive climate impact. From upstream mining to downstream processing, Indonesia is reshaping the global electric vehicle ecosystem while aligning industrial growth with strong environmental responsibilities. But before we begin, I would like to proudly welcome our distinguished speakers who represent the full value chain of Indonesia's nickel industry, from policy leadership to operational excellence and technology innovation. We would like to welcome Ibu Amelia Rachmatunisa, the Coordinator of Export-Import of Waste and International Corporation Working Group. She is a national expert advancing in responsible waste and hazardous materials, managing across key industries, including mining and energy. From Huayou, Indonesia, we would like to welcome Bapak Stefanus, Director of Public Affairs. He is a leader bridging technology excellence and stakeholder collaborations in Indonesia's rapidly growing downstream nickel ecosystem. And from PT Vale Indonesia, we would like to welcome Bapak Budiawan Shah, our Director and Chief Sustainability and Corporate Affairs Officer. Pak Budi, over 20 years of experience embedding ESG, safety, permitting discipline, and decarbonization into one of Indonesia's longest operating nickel companies. And also we would welcome from Harita Nickel, Bapak Aladin Sianipar, mohon izin Pak, Vice President, HSE Department. He's a pioneer of circular economy innovation, transforming industrial byproducts into valuable materials and reducing environmental footprints. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, please join me once again in welcoming all our distinguished panelists today. Okay. All right, so thank you very much. So to officially begin our session today, I will invite, first of all, Ibu Amelia to begin her presentation. Silakan Ibu, mohon izin.
Thank you very much, Mbak Fanda, and welcome to the COP 30 with to our session concerning the technology team. And then supposed to be in here, Mr. Amsor, our director, but because he has a tight schedule, so he cannot make it to attend this meeting. So I will be presenting the presentation concerning the waste utilization regulation in Indonesia. Next slide, please. So in our regulation, Indonesia Environmental Ministry has a complete regulation concerning the waste utilization. In here, as you can see, we have the law of the Republic Indonesia number 32, 2009 on the environmental protection and management. And then the second one, government regulation number 22, 2021 on implementation of environmental protection and management. And then for the transboundary movement, we have the presidential decree number 61, 1993. And then the next one is for the hazardous waste utilization. We have the Ministry of Environment and Forestry decree number 6, 2021. And then for non-hazardous waste utilization, we have Ministry of Environment and Forestry decree number 19, 2021. Next, please. And then above of all, we have also the regulation for the prohibition of the importation of the hazardous and non-hazardous waste. But this is also excluded with the non-hazardous waste, which is destined for the raw material. So it is regulated by the Ministry of Trade decree. Next. As you can see, this is the picture of waste management principle. So the first one, the precautionary principle, absolute responsibility, polluters pay principle, from cradle to cradle, waste minimization and proximity. And then aligned with our regulation, we also promote to waste production and utilization first. And then the last priority, also we have a regulation concerning the landfilling. But as mentioned in this slide, landfilling is the last priority. So next slide, please. This is the transformation in the paradigm of hazardous and non-hazardous waste management. As you can see, aligned with the regulation, we promote the waste utilization and then through the circular economy. This figure see the hazardous and non-hazardous waste has the potential to be utilized as a resource for the production. Next. And in our regulation, we have also promote for the waste utilization of hazardous and non-hazardous waste in the form of raw material substitution, energy source substitution, raw material, and other utilization depending of the development of technology. And then next. And then as you can see, this is the map of the distribution of hazardous waste generating in 2024. As you can see in here in green figure, we have figured the waste generating waste less than 2 million tons. And then in the brown, you can see waste generated between 2 million until 10 million tons. And then in the red figure, we can see the more than 10 million tons generating of the hazardous waste. Next. This figure also show the hazardous waste generation and management of 2022 and 2024. As you can see in the left side, you can see the almost 60% of the hazardous waste generating within 3 years. And then in the pie chart, you can see the type of management of the waste, which is as the material substitution, energy substitute, for storage. It is of course for further utilization, landfilling, and treatment. And then for the utilization of material substitution, it is more than 6 million tons waste already utilized in the year of 2004. And then for the utilization as the energy substitution, it is more than 336,000 tons. Next, please. And then this is the figure shows that this is the permit Ministry of Environment already give for the waste utilization, treatment, landfilling, and integration. And then next slide, please. This is show the waste from nickel industry. As you see, our subject now is concerning the nickel industry. As the development of technology in 2021, we transform the slag from the nickel smelting process considered as non-hazardous waste. So for further utilization, doesn't need the permit system. So it's follow for the other non-hazardous waste utilization. And then another hand, for the waste coming from the mining is still considered with the hazardous waste. And then the utilization and processing is need the permit system under the Ministry of Environment. I think moving forward, our focus in strengthening the cross-sectoral collaboration, enhancing technology adoption, and ensuring the circular economy. We directly Indonesia target to enhance the NDC target and climate resiliency. And thank you for the presentation. We look forward for your contribution and cooperation. Handling, we work together toward cleaner, safer, and more sustainable future. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Ibu Amelia. And now, after Ibu Amelia, we will also welcome our next speaker from Huayou Indonesia, Bapak Stefanus. Please proceed to the...
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity given to Huayou, and special thanks to the Indonesian government, especially for the Minister of Environment that is who take a lead, and inviting Huayou to join such a wonderful event. And let's share. I'm glad to be here to share with all of you guys regarding how Huayou technology innovation taking part into the global actions to control carbon emission while at the same time developing new energy industry. We are thinking that in industry development should go along with the environmental protection. It means that we don't want to just like come back to the to the Stone Age while sacrificing our industry development. We need to go in harmony where the environment and industry going and grow up together. But before we start, maybe some of you haven't know who is Huayou. Who is Huayou? Huayou Holding is a global leader in battery materials industry, founded in 1994 and headquartered in Zhejiang, Tongxiang, China. And we have a global business layout spread from the Africa, Indonesia, Europe, East Asia, and many other countries. And we have extensive industrial chain, starting from the mine, smelter, refinery, precursor, and cathode active materials until recycling industry. And we operate globally 4 zero carbon factory, accredited with more than 50,000 employees worldwide. Next, please. Next. We start to invest in Indonesia since 2018 and have built almost complete industrial chain, starting from nickel mine, smelters, and precursor manufacturing in Indonesia. And we combine Indonesia's nickel resource advantage with Huayou technology innovation to leverage Indonesia's global competitiveness in the ecosystem of EV industry. In 7 years of development, we deployed several projects in Morowali Industrial Park. Next please. Weda Bay Industrial Park, and currently constructing Pomala Industrial Park and several upcoming industrial parks in Indonesia. Next. When we talking about how the technology and technological innovation can contribute to the low carbon emission, first, for Huayou technology, we use the high pressure acid leaching technology or HPAL technology to process the limonite, which is the main component of the laterite nickel ore that was previously discarded as a waste or considered as overburden when the miners mine the high-grade ore or saprolite for pyrometallurgical smelting. The occurrence of HPAL technology, back please. The occurrence of HPAL technology in Indonesia, enabling Indonesia can carry out more sustainable mining practice by conducting total mining, what we call it total mining, that could fully utilize Indonesia's laterite nickel resources into more high valuable materials such as EV batteries, and at the same time could bring Indonesia as a major global player in the nickel downstreaming. Next. Besides conducting total mining, could also bring an opportunity to utilize HPAL tailings to be backfilled into mine void, since the mine itself must be reclaimed after post-mining. The tailings can be used as a backfilling materials, so the contour shaping for the mine can optimally be achieved after the total mining. Otherwise, miners would have difficulties to find other materials for reclamations, since the amount of overburden and topsoil will not enough to fill all the mine void left post-mining. The utilization of tailings as backfilling materials to the mine void could also minimize the deforestation and could protect more biodiversity compared into opening new forest area for tailing landfills. Moreover, the backfilled materials could also become the secondary mineral potential resource to be mined for future technology development. Next, please. And besides the sustainability practices in mine operation, Huayou also deploys several innovations in the smelter in order to achieve lower carbon emission and more sustainable industrial practices, starting from the feed preparation in the mine area, where we process all the limonites mined from the mine become into slurry and then pumped into the smelter, which is using long distance slurry pipeline. This kind of innovation for nickel ore transporting is the first one in Indonesia, marking a new way for low carbon environmental nickel ore transport that can reduce about 60% of carbon emission comparing to the conventional hauling hauling by trucking. And at the same time increasing the safety and reducing environmental impact compared to the previous one from the original hauling. Next, please. And Huayou R&D team also keep improving the processing to aim our low carbon emission plant through the CO2 or carbon dioxide solidification process, reducing about 500 kilograms tons of CO2 per ton nickel we produce. And at the same time, we can produce side product in the form of manganese carbonate, which is also essential for ternary battery materials industry. From the processing engineering, every Huayou HPAL will have its own sulfuric acid plant. And the sulfuric acid plant itself will provide about 75%, currently 75% of electricity from waste heat power generations. And in the near future, the improvement of Huayou's waste heat power generation can fulfill up to 100% of our electrical needs. So the waste heat power generation from sulfuric acid plant can reduce up to more than 1.5 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent per ton nickel. So by CO2 solidification and uses of the waste heat power generation, our total carbon consumption carbon footprint, can reduce to more than 2 tons in the processing plant. And at the same time, while we're developing or while we're designing the new plants, we always using the natural topography advantage to lower the energy consumption for the material process, because we deploy we're using the hydrometallurgical process, which is almost using liquid. So when we contouring the plant, when we do the plant design, we use the step by step land preparation. So the upstream of the process will be put higher elevation than the downstream process. So the liquid can flow naturally. That's also reduce our power needs, and also at the same time we can also reduce the carbon footprint. Next. And by applying previously mentioned innovation and through extensive study of processing improvement and optimization, Huayou can keep lowering down our carbon footprint in our nickel product, about 25% lower since our first production in 2022, marking us as one of the lowest carbon and environmentally friendly nickel producer in the world. Next, please. And next, from the industrial park perspective, the clusterization of the downstream industrial chain in an industrial park could also reduce our carbon emission from the supply chain. Next, and increasing competitiveness to our product, at the same time aligned with Indonesian government strategy to create the whole industrial chain of EV battery ecosystem in Indonesia. So this one is one of the examples in Weda Bay Industrial Park in North Maluku, Indonesia. We integrate nickel mine, HPAL processing, MHP refinery, and precursor manufacturing, marking it as the first and most complete integrated EV battery materials industrial chain in Indonesia. Next, please. Besides the Weda Bay, we are currently constructing Pomala Industrial Park in Southeast Sulawesi, Indonesia, to build more complete industrial chain, starting from the mine to cathode active materials and recycling, where we get the limonite source from our partner PT Vale Indonesia. processing the limonites in the jiffy between Huayou, Vale Indonesia, and Ford, downstream the processing in Huayou refinery, precursor, and cathode plant, and by establishing this fully integrated processing, Indonesia will have the first low carbon and green industrial park for EV battery materials, and Huayou could also lead the decarbonization in the nickel downstreaming industry, strengthening Indonesia's position in the global electric vehicle ecosystem and contributing nationally determined contribution and collectively global efforts to achieve net zero emission by 2050. I think that's all from my presentation, and thank you.
So thank you, Pak Stefanus. Round of applause from the audience, please. Okay, thank you. So next, we will also welcome a speaker from PT Vale Indonesia, which is Bapak Budiawan Syah. Mohon izin Bapak, the podium is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunities. I love to come to COP30. We have been through the conference of parties since years. So I mean, this is kind of commitment to our collective effort, how the climate change is important for us. Please allow me, all the distinguished guests, to deliver some angles or some share during this chance. I would like to start why these topics are important for us. Let's have a see. We, Vale Indonesia, has been operated at Indonesia, South Sulawesi, and others provinces like Southeast Sulawesi and Central Sulawesi since it's already 57 years. So we operate with our dedicating, with our very rooted commitment in sustainability. Next slide. I would like to start just for us, for our reflections, why this matter are important for us. As we see now after the Paris Agreement, basically the nickel is old technology and then also old mining, but why now it's become one key players for the during the climate change. As we know that Indonesia has abundance of resources and reserve that we have. Almost more than 40% of those critical minerals are in our state. In other hand, we can see what is the mining perceptions in our community, in our perception of the people, where it's changed the surface of the land, changing of the forest, and others. While in other side that we have to admit also, without this critical mineral or others mine product, our life is not in our states currently. So that's why we would like to see what we can do different in this industry to deliver that key message in order to control the climate change that we have collectively facing right now. Next slide. So, next slide. I have been through this process. I have young engineers more than 20 years ago. I just know how to operate the plant, but no, I'm worried, gentlemen. I'm worried what we can bring to our next generations if we can do minings different way. Let's have a look. Yeah, we Vale Indonesia have been operating for the 57 years in Indonesia. Next slide. Next slide. You see here our consistent perceptions and then the way we think about this industry. As you know that smelter is one of the biggest carbon of the extractive industries producers. But what we can do different in order to bring the positive impact to our community, to our environment. So the key is the commitment, how we put in front of all the programs that align with the sustainability. Next slide. Hence that we have all the resource and reserve for these critical minerals. We improve all these potentials minerals here in Indonesia with our partners, Huayou, GEMS. Later on, we are going to build another industry from the day one operation is using zero carbon. How it's possible? Technology is the key. We have been declared this on last year COP29 in Azerbaijan. Another also that challenge for us is how we reboost our existing operations to be more sustainable way. Next slide. So basically, this is the dual decarbonization program that we keep consistent follow through. The first one is absolute emissions, and the second one is how we control the emission intensity in our nickel product. No matter what, no matter that RKF, no matter that HPAL or whatever, but the key is how many carbon that we consume on each product we produce. So if we start, our target is still remain the same to keep consistent for the 30% reductions of absolute emission carbons in the next 2030. So there are many efforts, next slide, and plan to do that, which is the key to do this. The technology is the key, is how we put a project or initiative or innovation based on the value creation. Not just put the initiative, but we have to look what is the value creations that we can do together, collectively, collaboratively. As example now, we are going to build, like in Indonesia government, its campaign, how to produce from zero to waste, right? This is one initiative that we have to support it. And then the others one, value creations here, if you see in the list of the projects, bring this to all these people with spirit of open and transparent. Yeah, we can see one by one of the project using the technology, the existing operation at Sorowako, South Sulawesi. Next slide. Yeah. This is an example how we can utilize. We produce the energy from the hydropower plant, and then we let that energy goes to the natural and that area, but this is we can harvest more the energy that we produce. For example, we produce the met productions at Sorowako. In other hand, with the high temperature 1500, how we can utilize this energy without adding more. In another side also, the technology of the off-gas produced from the RKF smelters, furnaces. Also, this is a challenge for us, how we can harvest the CO and hydrogen to support and then to make the productions more efficient. So all those things that we measure is not only directly bring the dollars, but the more important, the more rooted, consistent is how to reduce, how to use the energy, and then also avoid put more energy to our operations. Again, next slide. I would like to close my presentations. I would like to have more discussion with all of us, what we can do in collaboratively. The emerging technology is important for this extractive industry. We look our trend. This is Vale performance at the latest. A couple of weeks ago, our Sustainalytics score was decreased down to 23.7. This is the lower ever we have in our extractive industry, and then put us as the lowest risk of smelters operation around the globe. Thank you. Next slide. So I would like to close my presentation with, always I bring this one. No future without mining, but no mining without caring the future. Thank you very much.
Please round of applause to Bapak Budiawansyah. Thank you, Bapak Budiawansyah. And last but not least, we would like to welcome Bapak Aladin Sianipar from Harita Nickel. Please go back to the podium. We welcome you. Thank you.
Halo, oke. Terima kasih. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for opportunity. As previously mentioned, my name is Aladin Hanifah from Harita Nickel. Next. Next. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, clean energy technology require more mineral than traditional energy system. Battery, EV, solar panel, wind turbine, and energy storage system all depend specific mineral. We can see demand is rapidly increasing as country accelerate decarbonization. Next. As many people now know, nickel has become well known as key raw material for electric vehicle battery. Next. Nickel is key component of lithium-ion battery like NMC, nickel, mangan, cobalt, and NCA, nickel, cobalt, aluminum, rely heavily on nickel. Why nickel become important in EV? Because nickel is critical for enabling long-range electrical EV and affordable battery storage. However, in everyday life, most nickel still used for stainless steel, which we commonly find in home appliances and household products. Our operations are located on Obi Island in North Maluku in the eastern part of Indonesia. Today, Harita Nickel employs more 23,000 people, 85% above Indonesian citizen and 45% local people from North Maluku. The image below, bottom below, the image at the bottom show our integrated industry area, processing facility and refining plant that enable Indonesia to move further downstream in the nickel value chain. Next. Okay, this is image illustration the profile our lateritic nickel ore. Limonite and saprolite we extract in our mining operation. The limonite we call lower nickel grade and saprolite we call high grade. We know limonite is raw material for EV material battery. And saprolite, we have saprolite to produce ferronickel in ferronickel smelter. Next. Okay, this is our business overview. Harita Nickel has built a complete nickel ecosystem on Obi Island. We have a take line from Obi for Indonesia. We start upstream by mining saprolite and limonite ore, ferronickel smelter to produce ferronickel, and asphalt refinery to produce nickel cobalt mixed hydroxide precipitate, or we call MSP. And midstream, MSP is refined into nickel sulfate and cobalt sulfate for EV battery. Next. Okay, we can see today people are increasingly focused on ESG, a part of global effort to address climate change. In line with this, our company places the highest priority on ESG and continues to meaningful progress to improve our particle practice. Next. Okay, this is our sustainability sustainability framework is built around principle of responsible growth supported by strong ESG practice. We believe good governance, good managing environmental and human rights can be driving responsible ESG practice. Next. Okay, we can see the management of runoff water. Obi Island is tropical climate, maybe same with Brazil. Obi high rainfall, so the management of runoff water become important. Here we saw how runoff water is managed in operational area. We control runoff water flow by ponding system from up to downstream. In up to downstream, we construct sediment and settling for control sediment and suspended material. This is a preventive. Preventive. And in the downstream, we have water treatment facility where it is processed to meet government quality standard. All of this monitoring using sparring. We now use sparring online continuous monitoring system connected directly to Ministry of Environment for 24 hours real time. Next. Okay, this is our management of land. Restoring nature is a key part of our responsibility to management of land. The reforest and revegetation program, which begin at the Logi Central Nursery. Our nursery produce more than 300,000 seedling every year, ensuring a sustainable supply for reforest and revegetation. Through our seedling program, over 1,030 seedlings are cultivated, planted, and maintained continuous care to ensure a high survival rate. Okay, the photo below shows the transformation of former mining area from open land back to green restored landscape. This is how we return the land to nature, support biodiversity, and ensure that our post-mining leave a positive environmental legacy. Next. Beyond our reclamation activity, we also undertake water rehabilitation and mangrove restoration effort. Next. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our journey toward decarbonization focus on two key areas: improving energy efficiency and reducing emission. Our major initiative is installation 40 megawatt peak solar panel plant. Our target for completion by the end 2025. Alongside solar energy, we are implementing a rain cleaner technology, including biosolar, waste heat recovery, and coal gas utilization and use cooking oil utilization. We are also transitioning to electrical vehicle and electrical conveyor belt to further reduce fuel consumption and emission. Next. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, biodiversity and ecology program for our monitoring and develop environmental. Biodiversity survey to identify condition on the ground and implementation meaningful corrective action, and marine ecology survey to monitoring and protect coastal ecosystem. regularly monitoring by independent and independent and internal survey, we conduct semester based. Next. Okay, connecting to our today topic dialogue, this is visual compared to approach of mining industry, the traditional linear system, and our integrated circular system. Our tagline, integrated circular system. The linear system, natural resources are extracted, processed, shipping, and eventually become waste. Overburden and soil are often discharged, and only of our use. Our approach in circular system, where every material is managed responsibly and reused whenever possible. In the system, byproduct and residual material are reintegrated back into production cycle, reducing waste and maximize resource efficiency. We believe can net zero emission. Next. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, how we manage the waste from smelter and refinery. From our smelter operation, nickel slag is one of the main byproduct, and instead of treating as waste, we turn it into valuable resource. We have successful the utilization slag for construction material. For example, we produce paving block, roof cube, welding material, reused for road base. A part of being construction material, we also backfill next nickel slag to expit. Our trial show that adding nickel slag as soil enhancer can boost plant. Plant growth about 76% up to 94%, which is very, very promising for land reclamation. Next. Okay, this is managing waste from refinery operation. While for refinery waste, the picture show how we have managed from refinery or asphalt refinery. Ladies and gentlemen, all tailings are managed safely on land and placed in former mining pit or ex-pit, following the strict environmental standard by government. Before being placed the tailing to the ex-pit, we ensure the tailing pass the toxicity test, and also for this moment we inform you we does not apply the deep sea tailing placement. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, this is diagrams show how Harita Nickel apply circular approach to waste management our operation. We start with natural resource, limonite and saprolite, or which go into refinery and smelter processing facility. This is process produce key product like MSP, nickel sulfate, cobalt sulfate, and ferronickel. Instead of treating byproduct as waste, we convert them into resource. Overburden is used for reclamation. Tailing are filter pressed and safely placed in dry stack facility. We know dry stack facility how to convert slurry nickel become to dry tailing. Nickel slag is repurposed for construction, backfilling, artificial reef, and even soil improvement. Ladies and gentlemen, our latest initiative aims to transform asphalt byproduct to produce pig iron as material for stainless steel. We can success to transform tailing become pig iron. This is technology we can reduce volume tailing. We can increase lifetime or facility from 5 years to 95 years. So we can manage our byproduct. This circular system ensures that material are reused as much as possible, reducing waste, minimizing environmental impact, and creating additional value. Next. Okay, this is finally, this is our commitment to sustainability is reflected in our alignment with global recognized ESG standard. We can see FTSE for Good Index. We are also progressing on the RMAP program, which assess supply chain transparency and ensure responsibly sourced material. For reporting, we follow global framework standard such as GRI, SASB, TCFD, and TNFD for nature-related disclosure. Ladies and gentlemen, we are also certified under ISO 45001 for occupational health and safety. And for environmental management, we are also certified under ISO 14001. Next. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and for mining operation, we are also committed to meeting the IRMA standard, one of the world's most rigorous framework for responsibility mining. In the fact, Harita Nickel is the first company in Indonesia to formally enter the IRMA audit process. Progress our audit is publicly available on the IRMA's website. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Paladin. And once again, please a round of applause for our speakers today because they have shared their strategies from upstream, downstream, and also from the regulations. As for now, we will move into the discussion segment to explore deeper insights into technology adoption and climate alignment. And for this, we will start with Bu Amelia again. So, Bu Amelia, in your presentation today, we see that Indonesia's efforts towards climate-aligned mining, we see that there's one key challenge in the regulation, which is about waste. You talked about reduction and utilization, which is like sort of like backfilling. And we wanted to know about how is the ministry considering strengthening or adjusting this policy to accelerate sustainability in the mining industry?
Okay, thank you, Ibu Vanda, for the question. So I think aligned with the policy from the Ministry of Environment Regulation, we kindly promote more for the waste utilization rather than the landfilling, as we also considering the development of technology, which is already available now, and then the impact to the environment. So maybe the company should consider more about the utilization first before backfilling or landfilling. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Amelia. So we understand more of that, and maybe we'll get back to you on this. But we'll go next to Bapak Stefanus from Huayou. So you talked about growth in harmony in your presentation as well. And Huayou, as we see, has pioneered influential low-carbon technologies. And this is like regarding waste, like such as tailings, right? how can these technologies that you implement be scaled collaboratively to accelerate Indonesia's midstream to downstream transformation today? So please, Pak Stefanus.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Fanda. So the key is growth in harmony and how we can get engage each other to promote the low carbon industry, and we can bring it into the downstream and midstream. Yeah, first from midstream, because from the mine side, there are several mining standards, and currently, like what our colleagues from Harita here and also Vale already conducted the IRMA certification processes, which is ensure us from the upstream policies, upstream management is will be put into higher standards, and how we Huayou as a downstream and midstream processing industry can also manage the low carbon and ESG performance in the right way. So the collaborative action that can be taken for Huayou is we can through several programs. Yeah. So one of the most interesting program that we have right now is regarding the scholarship program, that we promote the scholarship, we distribute the scholarships for Indonesian students from the senior high students, vocational students, and also the undergraduate students to pursue the career, to pursue the degree, both in the undergraduate studies in domestic universities, and also the for master degrees in metallurgy in China. So we promote the scholarship to them, so we can engage the local communities to also join the initiative with us. And also we conducted some of the program with the communities, such as mangrove planting and etc., to boost the or to lower our carbon footprint, not only from the processing point of view, but from the environmental protection point of view. So that's we can hand in hand, yeah, not only for Huayou, but also for our partners and our competitors, let's say in the same industry. We need to work together to achieve the collective measurement for the greener future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Pak Stefanus. So now we heard it from downstream. So we're going upstream and asking PT Vale Indonesia, which we see from your presentation that PT Vale has a very long history of embedding sustainability, which is 57 years in the mining industry. And it has been like its operational DNA, Pak Budiawansya. So we were just wondering, you also see that you have been focusing on sustainalytics and improving and achieving so many things. But how can Indonesia, as a leader of sustainable mining today, maintain its nickel leadership that is focusing on its decarbonization initiative while meeting its global ESG expectations and securing multi-stakeholder trust?
Yeah, I think this is very good question. Our sustainability is not only a jargon, but it was become our DNA operation. I still remember that when I'm young engineer at the times, around 2007, we are going to expand our energy sources, where at the time is coal was very interesting, right, with the price and then capex intensity. But when one make us difference during that, at the time we decide keep continue with the rest of the potential of the hydropower plant, and then we generate, if we compare the capex intensity, which is high, but what we look become our preference is we look for the next is to keep consistent in supporting for the green energy as the basics, and then as the long history in our operations. So this has become strategic position for PTVI. We know that situations of the nickel in the global is become challenging from all aspects, including from the price, but how we can put in the different way. So the sustainability that represent from the sustainalytics, and then also from the value creations programs that we implement, it not just bring the innovations, but we have to think how we bring this program to creating positive impact to ours. It's not only for the environment, but only for our community and society. So this is the art of the sustainability of the operations that we continues until now, that 57 years, and then we will continue under the special mining permit license from the government of Indonesia. And then we're facing now the challenges of the communities. So we would like all of us thinks about the way we're doing business differently. Yeah, it's not only provided bring the technology, but what technology we can use that based on the value creations. For example, in the government Indonesia now, we are start and then campaign to make a kind of from waste to energy. So this is exactly a direct example that all of us, we have to put this in our DNA as well, because the basic one is about commitment. When you're facing that situation and it might challenge your business, that only you will think twice. Can I continue with this principle or not? So I think that's my question.
Okay, thank you, Mas Budian Wanshat, for a great answer. And before we go on to the questions from the audience, we would like to go to Harita. For Pak Aladin Sianipar, we saw your presentation and it has shown significant ESG frameworks. And today, Indonesia ESG framework continues also to evolve. We understand that in the mining industry, there is so many challenges that everyone faces. So despite everything that we have been doing and showing, but there are still challenges to face. We just wonder that what challenges does Harita face in implementing advanced technologies? As we see, there's so many updated technologies like the sparing tools that is 24 hours integrated. And how does this company ensure responsible and compliant operations? Thank you, Pak.
Okay, thank you for your question. Harita Nickel, as a global mining global industry, okay, Harita Nickel integrated mining and processing company. So limonite ore previously is overburdened, but today Harita Nickel has successful to transform limonite became MSP, nickel cobalt mixed precipitate. You know, MSP is a material for raw material for EV battery. Harita Nickel, with our operation, approach preventing and control run of water, we construct a ponding system, okay, and in downstream we can construct about 80 hectare for water treatment facility. We ensure wastewater from treat can become good standard government. We control by sparring system. Sparring system is a real-time system connected to government environmental 24 hours. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pak Aladin. I think we should, since we are already like in the discussion panel, I think it's time for the audience. So we still have time, I guess, like about 10 minutes, right? So maybe from the audience, they have shared, like our industry key leaders have shared about a lot of strategies and through the presentations. Does anyone in the audience would like to have any questions to ask to them? We are able to take 2 questions. So if anyone in the audience is interested in asking from their presentations or sharing session, please raise your hand and we will facilitate in asking. Just maybe 2 questions. We can have time for 2 questions. I guess you guys all are agree. Oh, okay. All right. So please, if we have your name, maybe someone give a microphone. And where are you from? Mrs.
Antigua and Barbuda. I work with local community groups. We have many climate threats to include rusting, high heat, and I want to know if these ingredients can cope with our challenges in small islands. I have a solar system, and the wires they installed were so huge that everybody's saying it's the wrong wires, but I understand the heat from the sun, the rising temperatures, the rust coming from the oceans, the chemicals from sargassum seaweed, all these impact the productivity of these systems. So I want to know if you have mechanisms in place to cope with these risks or threats. Thank you.
All right. So I'm sorry, I didn't get your name, Mrs. Mrs. Spencer from.
Work with local community groups. They are where the solutions are.
Okay, thank you for highlighting that. All right, so maybe we can answer that. So we can ask from the regulations upstream and then downstream as well. So we'll have this one question, but answered by everyone. So what are our hope with our solar systems and all the challenges today with the rising temperatures? Is it going to impact productivity on our products as well? And how is the mechanism? Maybe first we start with Bu Amelia to answer by regulations of Indonesia. Maybe can share anything on this. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Bavanda. Ms. Spencer, I will try to answer your question. Regarding our regulation in Indonesia, we have all the regulation put in place. For instance, for the emission and then for water pollution and also for hazardous and non-hazardous waste. And especially for the hazardous waste, we implement the permit system if the company who produce the waste will want to utilize the waste. But for the emission and then for the water pollution, the monitoring is connected directly to the Ministry of Environment. As mentioned by Mr. From Harita, Mr. Aladdin said that sparring is also connected directly to the Ministry of Environment. I think, thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Amelia. Maybe Pak Stefanus, you could add to that from a downstream industry perspective.
Yeah, maybe I want, first of all, I want to confirm your question again regarding how the company can manage the impact of the environment in such kind of rising temperature, and also how we can manage the water and how it can impact the productivity of the company. So by nature and by the regulation, before we do some investment in Indonesia, we need to pass several assessments. One of the most important one, which is the EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment, where we need to fully assess of our potentially impact to the environment, to the community, and to our own productivity, to maintain the productivity can get the economic way. Yeah. So when we do the assessment, the government will also put some expert to engage during the assessment to maintain or to ensure all the impact is well managed. And after that, during the process of construction and operation itself, there are several measurements has been taken, just like what our colleagues from Harita just mentioned that, and also Bu Amelia just mentioned that from the water point of view, water pollution, we have sparring, which is 24/7 connected with the government. So the government also can control and maybe some warning you if you have the peak or you surpass the pollution control standards. It's also same with the air pollution, where all your chimneys or all your stack is also put will be put sensors to 27 monitored by the government and by ourselves, and we need to regularly report to the government and include there are several monitoring points that we deployed in the surrounding communities to check whether our operations has some impact to the communities. That's one of the part that mandatory in our EIA. So that's how we can manage the impact for the operations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Stefanus. Maybe Pak Budiawansyah from PT Vale would like to add on?
Probably I would like to add a little bit that because technical regulations is already bring from my colleagues here. So I think I would like to underline what I keep saying here is about positive impact to the community and the environment. It's not generate from like we install the chimney, the stack, and then generate the heat and then run off waters from the mine area and then produce the hazardous waste, etc. But how we can build the like initiative from waste to energy. Yes, you produce the heat, but how we bring positive impact. We generate, we recover, we harvesting the carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen become more energy. So this is one initiative that for sure we talking already beyond the compliance, because the compliance itself is already clear by the government, and then from the aspect impact evaluation and analysis is already there, from emissions, waters, everyone, etc. is already completed. So I think it will be become another commitment for us, for all of us in this industry, or it's not only for the extractive industry, but also for the under industry players. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Pak Budiawansyah. And now maybe we should end it with Pak Aladin just to add on to the highlights for this question.
Okay, thank you for your question. Harita Nickel integrated from mining to processing. Our tagline, how to good managing environmental. We believe we control from upstream to downstream and monitoring by government standard. We believe we control the waste or hazardous waste. Sparring is a system, online system, real time and connected to ministry, environmental ministry. So 24 hours, I can believe we can monitoring maybe peak in real time. So good managing environmental, we can control and approach preventing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Aladin. So I think as we approach the end of this session, today's discussion reinforced one fundamental truth, that technology in Indonesia is a catalyst for climate progress. And this is considering that developments of technologies and impact are also answered from this technology. From upstream mining to downstream processing, Indonesia is proving that innovation, environmental responsibility, and industrial competitiveness can move forward together. I would like to thank you to Ibu Amel from the Ministry of Environment, Pak Stefanus from Huayou Indonesia, Pak Budiawan Shah from PT Vale Indonesia, and also Pak Aladin from Harita Nickel, and all of the COP30 delegates for all your insights and also participation. So let us continue advancing a future where sustainability starts with me, with you, and with all of us. And back to Ibu Mona. I'll give it back. Thank you.